Tennessee basketball now sits alone atop the SEC standings after traveling to Tuscaloosa and taking down Alabama 81-74. I'm Ryan Sylvia. This is Noah Taylor. We're with VolReport.com on the Rivals Network. And for a while there, Tennessee was playing from behind. They got off to a good start, and then they forfeit that lead late in the first half. And then a crucial defensive stand down the stretch gets the job done. In the final 14 minutes of this game, Alabama shoots 3 for 23 from the field. Tennessee does enough to get back into it on the offensive end and ultimately come out with the win. Let's talk about that defensive push. What stood out down the stretch there that let the Vols kind of snowball that defensive run into a comeback?
Yeah, I think it starts with the guy that has just seemingly has a lot of success, or has had a lot of success the last couple of games against this Alabama team, which, the last 2 or 3 meetings has come in with one of the best offenses in the country. Josiah Mashak has been able to kind of figure that out and really got the ball rolling for Tennessee there. Comes up with contributes offensively with a big shot that puts Tennessee in the lead, and then immediately follows that up with the steal, right behind us on the sideline. That goes back tips it back to Zakai, and that ends up being an and one for Jonas, and that just seemed like the turning point for Tennessee. That never trailed after that sequence. Like we said, a guy that's just been, did a really good job of kind of holding Mark Sears in check in Knoxville. I know he scored 22, but he made them earn every single one. And tonight was just kind of along those same lines. A guy that, we just talked to, and we talked to Rick Barnes as well, that can guard that 1 through 5 position. And Josiah-Jordan James told us that's incredibly rare in basketball. We've seen Jemai do it. We saw him do it tonight. Just the guy that did it really on both ends. Only finishes with 8 points, but none bigger than that shot he made to put him in front, and then followed it up with just an incredible defensive performance.
Yeah, let's focus in on that offensive side, though. Just how important is it that you have a guy like Josiah Mashak that goes out there, shoots 3 for 4, not a big load, but makes 3 of his 4 shots, hits both of his 3-point attempts, and then passes for 4 assists and just turns the ball over 1 time. How crucial was it that Tennessee got that tonight in a game where maybe Dalton Connect wasn't as effective as usual?
Yeah, it was incredibly crucial. It really came at a time where, we saw just a few nights ago Dalton Connect, a game that just was unreal. We've seen a few of those this year, but that one was just seemed like on another level. It finishes with 39 points, keeps their SEC title hopes alive with that takeover he had in the second half. But tonight, like you said, Alabama did a pretty good job of kind of keeping him in check, and he obviously wasn't hitting shots like he normally does. But man, that's got to make this Tennessee team incredibly grateful and excited, now that it is March, that you can have Dalton Connect have a game like that and then follow it up with a guy like Josiah Mashak, who finishes with 8 points, but they're all critical shots. A guy like Zakai Ziegler, who hit a bunch of critical threes in this game. Santiago Vescovi gave you that as well. Josiah-Jordan James hit a big 3 late in that game too to preserve that lead. I think that when the team is playing like this, it's obviously on another level when Dalton's giving you 30, 35 points a night, but when you're getting that from everybody, it's just, that bodes really, really well for this team going forward.
Let's talk about some of the things that maybe went wrong there in the first half. Jonas Aidoo, Tobe Awaka, both hit with 2 fouls pretty quickly there in the first half. Sit the rest of that frame until the second half begins. They start seeing their time on the court. Once again, JP Estrella comes in for a little bit, picks up 1 foul, sits for a little bit, comes back in. But as you mentioned, the guarding 1 through 5 from Josiah Mashak, the Josiah-Jordan James guarding 1 through 5. They did give up the lead during that stretch, though. They did get outscored, I believe, 20-11 during that about 7.5-minute stretch, which is what gave Alabama the lead back and gave them that lead heading into halftime. What did you see during that stretch? Is that something maybe you're concerned about with Tennessee, is foul trouble with the bigs and them not being able to play?
Maybe a little bit, because you've seen it. I know last week we talked, I think just a few nights ago after that Auburn game, we talked about Tobe Awaka was doing a better job of staying out of foul trouble, being able to stay on the floor. That creeps up on him again tonight, obviously, with both of them. And it was maybe a little concerning because you've seen that 2 big lineup work incredibly well. That was a big reason they avoided a huge upset at Missouri a few weeks ago. You've seen it work really well at times. Tonight, that didn't work for them, and they obviously had to change things up, which worked for them in the end. I don't think overall it's a big concern because more often than not, those 2 guys have given you a lot. But again, back to Tobe, a guy that has kind of struggled at times, staying on the floor because of foul trouble. You're hoping, especially at this juncture of the season, that's not going to be a problem again for him.
Up next, a trip to Columbia, trying to get revenge over a South Carolina team that beat the Vols at home. Tennessee's only home loss of the season coming to the Gamecocks. Now Tennessee looking to flip the script on them and grab an away win. First place on the SEC on the line tonight. Probably on the line next Wednesday as well, with South Carolina just a game back from the Vols. What do you want to see out of Tennessee for them to be able to win that game?
Yeah, I think being able to play at their pace and keep up with their games, that's what South Carolina was able to take out for them. And it'll be a lot harder to do that in a place that I think's become a little bit more hostile with South Carolina's success. Game, like you mentioned, South Carolina's right there too in that SEC race. Obviously, Tennessee's got that first place spot now, but South Carolina's going to have an opportunity. You're going to expect that to be a pretty tough crowd. The good news for Tennessee, words that were used a lot tonight in the press conference were weathering the storm, and they were able to do that tonight. I think that bodes well. But I think being able to not get out of rhythm or get away from what your identity is, which I think South Carolina had success at, what Mississippi State had success at. These slower paced teams that have tried to bring Tennessee down to their level. There's been some success in that a couple times here. South Carolina was able to do it earlier this year. I think the big thing for Tennessee is to avoid that and just play like they did tonight.
South Carolina, and then at home against Kentucky, a senior night for Dalton Connect, and then the two guys who have been here for 5 years, Santiago Vespi and Josiah-Jordan James. Then it's SEC tournament time, and then we see what this team can do in March Madness. Will they be able to get over that Sweet 16 hump that's plagued Rick Barnes and this Tennessee team, make a second ever Elite Eight, or maybe in the first ever Final Four for a Tennessee Volunteers men's basketball program? To join that ride, to go along all the way, head over to VolReport.com over on the Rivals Network. We'll have coverage all the way through the tournament run on the men's and women's side of things, with the Lady Vols wrapping up their regular season tomorrow in Columbia, South Carolina, as well. 2 trips for the Tennessee basketball programs over to South Carolina. Then baseball season started, and then we'll have content on the new football coaches here on Monday too, Darrell Sims and William Inge. So make sure you head over to VolReport.com. Everything you need is in the description. Thank you for watching.